Monster Hunter World is the biggest game yet in the storied Monster Hunter series, and it's one of the best places for new players to jump in. But while Monster Hunter World is fairly easy to pick up and play, it gets complex quickly, and there is a lot to learn in a short time. I'm James from Curse, and here are a few things to keep in mind if you're heading out on your first hunt. There are 14 different weapons to start with in Monster Hunter World, and they all have very different movesets and strategies connected to them. If you're just starting out, the easiest weapon to get acclimatized to are the dual swords and the sword and shield. These weapons don't deal huge damage, but they have simple combos and short recovery times, making it easier to recover from your mistakes. The long sword is one of the simpler heavy weapons, and the light bowgun is a good starting place if you're looking to try a ranged weapon. Different weapons are better for different scenarios, but when you're starting out, the best thing to do is just find something that feels comfortable and start upgrading it. Whatever weapon you choose, the first thing to do is to head to the training ground. There, on-screen prompts will teach you the ins and outs of each weapon as you try it, including the weapon's most useful combos. The training ground is also a great place to practice movement. Using the grappling points and your slinger and swinging on vines can be incredibly important movement skills, and the training ground gives you a safe place to get a feel for them. After a few starter missions, you'll have the ability to go on expeditions. This is your chance to simply free roam the map with no time limit or restrictions. If you need to stock up on certain herbs or materials, this is a great chance to gather them. But more importantly, this is an excellent time to learn the layout of each map. Being able to use and understand the maps in each area is incredibly important. Take time to learn what paths lead to which areas, explore and look for shortcuts, and always be on the lookout for hidden areas, which may contain rare materials or creatures. The more stuff you find on expeditions, the easier you'll be able to track it on your map in the future. Another thing to look out for is varying types of terrain. Mud, water, climbable walls, vines, these all affect both you and the monster you're hunting. Plan your encounters around this. For example, if you're tracking a Baroth, which moves well in mud, don't challenge it while it's in the bog. Track it, and try to plan your encounter in a place that's advantageous to you. One thing to pay particular attention to is environmental traps. Some traps can be activated from a distance using your slinger. Simply toss a rock at a certain type of plant to make it ooze poison, or agitate a paratoad to get it to let off a paralysing cloud of dust. One of the most difficult things to acclimate to for a new Monster Hunter player is the menu. There are a lot of items to get used to, and most of them are important. The menu and interface can be confusing, and you'll be navigating much of it in real time, often as you're actively in combat. Because of that, it's worth your time to really organise your items, especially the quick access ones, and make sure you know exactly how to get to them in a pinch. And don't forget to eat. You should be eating meals before your hunts to gain various buffs and upgrades. If you find yourself near a campsite while you're out in the field, then you can cook something for yourself, just the same as you can anywhere else. The meals provide important benefits for your hunts, and besides, the cooking animation is kind of fun to watch. You start the game with a little cat buddy. That's a Palico, your hunting buddy for life. Palicos will help you attack monsters, gather items, or harvest ingredients in the wild, heal you in a pinch, and even communicate with wild cats to set traps for the monster. They are incredibly helpful, and as you go along, you can level them up according to what role you want them to play. So pay attention to what they're doing while you're out on a hunt. They will learn and improve at whatever they're set to do, so if there's something else you want them to do, customize them that way. And don't neglect your Palico's equipment. The better their equipment, the better they will be at assisting you. Upgrading equipment is the main goal of any hunt. You hunt the monsters and you get parts and pieces from them. With those materials, you go and create stronger weapons and armour. With that stronger equipment, you then fight stronger monsters, which helps you make stronger equipment, and so on. That sounds pretty simple, but it's the core mechanic of the game. If you're not upgrading your equipment, you're eventually going to hit a wall where a hunt is simply not going to be possible with your loadout. At that point, you either need to forge new weapons and armour, or upgrade the ones you have. Weapons upgrade along a set of skill trees that unlock different abilities to fit different playstyles. When you're starting out, don't worry too much about the skill trees. Just know that upgrading weapons makes them better. You can figure out the rest as you go on more hunts and obtain new materials. Armour is far more straightforward. Generally speaking, upgrading armour gives you more defense. Each armour set has base stats, Stronger monster parts let you forge armor sets with higher base stats. Upgrading with armor spheres will improve those stats a little bit, most notably the defense stat. Bottom line, don't be stingy. If you're debating between whether or not to use materials to improve equipment or hoard them for something later, always go for the upgrade, especially in the early game. You may think the parts from your latest hunt are precious, but you'll most likely be swimming in them soon enough. Now, what happens if you want to create a new weapon or piece of armor but you lack the materials? This is where you might need to turn to optional quests, expeditions or investigations. Most large monsters will only be hunted in an assigned quest once, but hunting a monster once won't give you what you need for a full armor set or weapon upgrades. Luckily, there are limitless opportunities for you to go back and find those monsters to hunt them again. After you've defeated a monster in an assigned quest, they'll usually start showing up in optional quests around town, or you can just go looking for one on a free roam expedition. Remember to take advantage of the wishlist function if you're short on materials. Add a piece of equipment to your wishlist and the game will automatically mark the specific materials you need and sources for them, which will be highlighted when you're in the field. Monster Hunter World is a game that isn't just about how you fight, but where and when you fight as well. When you've spent a long time tracking a monster, you might be tempted to simply make a beeline for it the moment you see it and start attacking. However, you should resist that urge. Look around first and take account of your situation. What kind of items do you have on hand? What can you use to your advantage in the environment? What kinds of terrain are around you? Is there any more advantageous battlefield that you can try and lure the monster into? Do they have an escape route? Do you have an escape route? Answer those questions and you'll find yourself developing a plan of attack. Will those plans sometimes go completely off the rails? Yes, probably. Most of the time the monster will flee once you get the upper hand. However, that's okay, just stay calm. Look at the map and set a waypoint on the monster. The scout flies will lead you right to it and you can track it down and plan another attack. If you're looking to play Monster Hunter World's multiplayer, you don't have to worry too much about it. There's very little distinction between the single player and the multiplayer games. When you take on a quest, the default setting is to post it as a joinable mission, where up to 3 players can join. If you prefer to play solo, simply set it to 1 player. You can also join someone else's mission in progress, or create a session for your friends to play together. The Gathering Hub provides the specifically multiplayer options, including timed arena monster battles and 16-man competitive hunts. One thing to remember about multiplayer hunts though, while it's fun and often easy to hunt with your friends, or even strangers, remember that your targets will always have way more health than if you took them on solo. Monster Hunter World is a huge game with tons of complexity in a series known for being difficult to master. We definitely haven't covered everything, but this should get you well on your way to bringing down your first Anjanth. Good hunting and enjoy the game.